Hello, this is Nancy Ray, your host for the Rebel Haven podcast, a show designed to inspire, educate, and empower our community of entrepreneurs that think differently. For as in the words of the great and late Steve Jobs, the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that do.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
I have a dream that one day
it's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Hello and welcome, my fellow rebels. This is your host, Nancy Ray, and in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about problems and how epic they actually really can be. So I learned a lot about this when I first attended Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins, and I think that was back in 2014 or 2015. And one of the main takeaways that I had from that 4-day event was the power of being solution oriented, and how when we get ourselves in a really amazing high vibrational state where we believe that there's never a lack of resources, just a lack of resourcefulness, how we can come up with and conceive some of the most amazing, innovative solutions to our problems. But the key with being able to do this is to believe that there's always a way and to not see problems as the enemy, but as opportunities. So I'm going to use a couple of examples for this. One of them being toys. It's been really fun to see the evolution of toys, right? Along with the evolution of all sorts of different industries, right? With technology and et cetera, right? Like 100 years ago, we didn't have battery operated toys, but now you can get toys that are, my daughter has this kitty that's a robot and it will purr and fall asleep and do all sorts of weird things, right? And before, people had, dolls without faces on them, or they would have a rag that they would tie to look like a puppy, and they didn't have toys. Now, I really believe that we have the type of toys we have today because there were kids that refused to grow up, and when they were younger and they were imagining playing with guns and playing with bows and arrows and running around outside and playing with dolls or building cool forts or whatever, they thought, oh man, how cool would it be if there was this or if there was this? So they created and developed really cool toys that we have today. Now, one other really amazing thing to understand with this is that every time a new solution is created, every time a new type of software or even a new toy is created, it becomes the new baseline. And from there, we create above and beyond that. So let's say back in the day, they would use sticks and rocks to pretend it was like little figures or little people or whatnot. Then eventually they developed these wood figures, right, that had these little wood houses, and they had their first doll house. And then eventually they began to invent, they started using plastic, and they started using real hair on the dolls and clothes. Now they have accessories. They're not just painted. You see how it just keeps getting better and getting better and getting better. So when we can remember this, we can begin to be grateful, first of all, for all the other innovations that have come before us that give us the opportunity to continue to bring. Just look at cell phones, for example. I remember my very first cell phone was this brick thing, with buttons. It was really, really big and awkward and weird and had an antenna that you could pull in and out. And to be able to go from that to what we have now, where my phone is oftentimes way more efficient and way more powerful than my laptop is. And I do way more of my business through my phone than I ever do through that. And that is all made possible because people had problems. And instead of just settling with them and stopping and giving up, they found really creative solutions around them. So the other day, this happened for me. I do a lot of my coaching, either one-on-one coaching or group coaching through Zoom. And sometimes I'll even use Zoom to record like screenshot videos where I'm like putting together a course or whatnot. And I was using Zoom and I would record. And then every time I would finish a recording, then it would be stored on my computer. Or then I would have to download it right off the cloud that's in Zoom onto my computer, and my computer started complaining right about storage space. And I work from a laptop so that it's way portable. And I was like, man, okay, so I'll just plug in my like my drive, right? So that I have extra space. And it was just this hassle. And I just started thinking, I was like, man, it would be so cool if when I was done with a coaching call, instead of having to download it onto my computer and then upload it to Google Drive, which is usually where I share these videos from, if it would just automatically import itself over there, right? It would just go from this cloud over at Zoom over to this cloud on my Google Drive. That would be amazing. And so I started saying this out loud, and I asked Tyson, and Tyson is my former spouse, and he is very technologically savvy. He is a web developer by trade and an inventor by night. And I asked him what in the world I could do with this problem. Man, is there a simpler solution? Is there a way that I can make this work? And he started playing with it and thinking about it. And he ended up developing and writing some code for me where we have it automatically doing it. Now, I don't understand how it works behind the scenes, but my willingness to know that there was another way and to verbalize this was able to bring a solution or a tool to me. So often when we're not in the mindset of being solution oriented, we experience a problem, we hit a roadblock, and we quit. We stop. We give up, we get frustrated, or we whine, or we complain, rather than holding this space and energy of there's got to be an easier way. There's a way that this can be more efficient. And so many of the new innovative solutions and softwares that are out there began because someone had a problem and they went looking for a solution and they realized there wasn't one. So rather than seeing your problems as problems or obstacles, try on the possibility that you could start seeing them as opportunities, as little, dollar bills floating around in your life, things that you can transform and you can move through to make your life easier and make everyone else's life easier around you. So that being said, you guys, this concludes this quick little podcast all about seeing your problems as opportunities. I'm your host, Nancy Ray. Remember that whatever your dream, whatever your vision, it is absolutely possible. Till next time.